Knowing the difference between an independent contractor and an employee should be something that is understood before becoming a real estate salesperson. In my opinion, this is step one in the money management department. Before we get started, please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. If you are a returning viewer, welcome back, and a big thank you to everyone for supporting this channel. Okay, let's begin. The majority of real estate agents are going to be independent contractors, not employees. There is a big difference between the two. A noticeable difference between an employee and an independent contractor is that the employee will have the taxes taken out of their paycheck. An independent contractor will not. Be very careful, independent contractors. You must consult with an accountant and have him or her advise you. I'm sure they will recommend that you take a portion of your check and put it to the side so that at the end of the year you are not hit with a big sum of money that you have to pay back. That's how people get themselves into serious trouble with the IRS. Paying quarterly to the IRS is what most accountants will recommend to a real estate salesperson acting as an independent contractor. When the average employee thinks about making money, they think about working a set amount of hours a week for someone else, doing specific tasks assigned to them by their employer, and then collecting a paycheck, usually at the end of the work week, again with the taxes being taken out of their check. Most real estate agents work on commission. They make their own schedule. They cannot be told what to do or when to do it. This gives them a lot of flexibility, which can be beneficial to certain lifestyles. For example, I know people who felt like they needed to be home by 3 o'clock to get their kids off the school bus. Or some people like traveling, or already have a career but want to dabble in real estate to earn additional money on the side. Not having to be somewhere at a set time or put in a set amount of hours can be very appealing. Lastly, some people just like being their own boss. Unfortunately, it is very easy to fall into poor work habits without having someone looking over your shoulder. Procrastination can easily set in when a person is responsible for the completion of their own daily tasks. Self-motivation is absolutely necessary. Let's back up a little and talk about how this actually works out for the real estate salesperson acting as an independent contractor. After the real estate salesperson gets what's called a meeting of the minds between the seller and the buyer, meaning they agree on a price, the buyer usually has to apply for a mortgage, which takes in around 3 months. Once the mortgaging process commences, a closing date will be set. Fast forward to the closing. At the closing table, a check is made out to the broker of the office. The agent takes that check back to the office and gives it to the broker. The broker of the office will then give the agent their share. Once again, just to reiterate what we said earlier, no taxes are coming out of the check before it gets handed over to the real estate agent. Independent contractors have to do that on their own. If an employee gets laid off, to ease the pain, they will most likely be able to collect unemployment insurance until they find another source of employment. An independent contractor will not receive unemployment insurance. An employee will most often receive health insurance from their employer, not an independent contractor. An independent contractor will have to find their own health insurance provider. Real estate agents as independent contractors get to write off certain business expenses at the end of the year, which could lower their tax liability, not employees. Here are just some examples of what an independent contractor acting as a real estate agent can write off at the end of the year. A home office, office supplies, a car lease, the mileage, just to name a few. Keeping good records is the only way of benefiting from tax exclusions. Speaking to an accountant immediately after finding a sponsoring broker is highly recommended. Okay, so here's my disclaimer. As I mentioned earlier, a real estate agent is independent of their broker. They can set their own hours and basically do their own thing. Having said that, it is imperative that you follow the directions of your broker, especially a new agent who needs guidance to get started. I would suggest to a new agent to be in the office as much as possible in the beginning of their career. Try to attend all meetings. That's when the office is filled with your fellow agents. Simply observe and listen to how the other agents in the office interact with each other and how they handle calls from their customers and clients. If you're not in the office, but you're making money, well, that's fine. Your broker will be very happy with that. But if you're not in the office and not making any money, well, your broker won't be happy with that at all. Don't forget for the school and state exams that the broker of the office has what's called vicarious liability over their agents, meaning the broker is responsible for the actions of their agents. So our behavior as real estate agents need to be spot on, or our broker can ask us to leave.